Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ba'ad. Dear brothers, we return back to our studies of Ajrumiyyah, the fundamentals of Arabic grammar from the famous primer by the great scholar Imam Ibn Ajurrum rahimahullah ta'ala. And we finished up our study of the alamatu nasbi, the signs of words being mansub, with the very last sign, which was hadf al-noon, right? The omission of, the deletion of the noon. How many signs of nasb are there total? 3, 4, 5. 3? 4? Just go back to lesson number 14. The answer is in lesson number 14, page 22. Read it. وَلِلنَّصْبِ خَمْسُ عَلَامَات. What are they? الفتحة الألف الكسرة الياء وحذف النون. All right, I need a real quick review of those 5 lessons right there. Just give me an example of a fatha being a sign of nasb. Jibreel. Just give me a sentence. رأيت الرجل. I saw the man. الرجل. أعرب الرجل. اسم منسوب. الظاهرة. Sure. Okay. So الرجل اسم منسوب علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Is a fatha only a sign of nouns being mansub? Yeah, Ibrahim? Or could there be a verb that's also mansub and the sign of it being mansub is a fatha? Open question for everyone. Is there a verb that's mansub with a sign of it being mansub is fatha? What is it? Come on. Go, give me an example. Uridu an adhaba. I want to go. All right. Uridu an adhaba. So which is the word that is the fi'l mudari' mansub? Where is it? Adhaba. Okay. So make i'rab of that. Adhaba. Nice. Very smooth. Allahumma barik. أريد أن أذهب فعل مضارع منسوب علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. Nice. That's getting easy, huh? Next sign of it being mansub, of a word being mansub, is the alif. Who knows where the alif is a sign of a word being mansub? Al-asma' al-khamsa. Aha. Like for example, Ra'aytu abak. Saw your father. Sayyid Ikram. A'rib abak. Ismun. All right, what's the case? Mansub. Nice, very good. Alamatu nasbihi al-alif. Next one is al-kasra. When is the time when the kasra is a sign of something being mansub? Jam'ul mu'annath as-salim. Nice. Give me an example. Ra'aytu al-muslimati. Nice. Okay, a'rib al-muslimati. Nice, yeah. Ismun mansubun alamatu nasbihi al-kasra. Allahumma barik. Allahumma zid wa barik. And then the ya, the 4th out of 5 signs, is a ya. The letter ya. A little reminder here. Look at some of these signs are harakat. Some of these signs are entire letters. A review like that is coming up when we finish all the alamat. All right. Who's got the ya being a sign of something that's mansub? Who's got it? Who knows it? Who's gotten it? Go ahead, Jibreel. Example. Jam'u mu'annath salim. Didn't we just do that? He just said that the kasra is a sign of mansub, of being mansub for jam'u mu'annath salim. So what are you talking about? Jam'u mudhakkar salim. Oh, okay. Jam'u mudhakkar salim. The author says في التثنية والجمع. He doesn't say what kind of jam'a or what kind of tathniya. So we mean tathniyatul asma' and jam' mudhakkar salim, that specific tathniya and that specific jam'. Give me an example of jam' mudhakkar salim then. That's mansub. Ma'a is going to make it majroor. Ra'aytu al-muslimin. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's okay to have a go-to statement and not be creative. It's late at night. Creative juices aren't all there. It's okay, as long as you know the rule. And ra'aytu, okay, ra'aytu al-muslimin. You got your ya there. So al-muslimun, ja'a al-muslimuna. رأيت المسلمين. Nice. أعرب المسلمين. He says جمع مذكر سالم منسوب علامة نصبه الياء. Nice. And then yesterday's sign was what? حذف النون. Sayyid Ikram, give me a quick example of حذف النون as a sign of something being منسوب. تقتلون. تقتلون. You're killing people? Why are you killing people? تقتلون. تقتلون, you just gave me a verb. لن تقتلوا. Nice. Okay, لن تقتلوا. So تقتلون, you're killing. You're killing. All right. لن تقتلوا, you shall not kill. لن تقتلوا. طيب, very good. Make إعراب of تقتلوا. حذف, yeah, حذف the omission of the noon. Nice. So تقتلوا, لن تقتلوا. تقتلوا فعل مضارع منصوب علامة نصبه حذف النون. بارك الله فيك. Just for the record, I'm not the one who's bringing examples of killing and murder. And Sayyid Ikram. All right, because they'll say, look at the Muslims practicing their Arabic language. You killed, you're killing. No, don't kill just yet. You know, they always want something. Lesson number 20, page 28. وَلِلْخَفْضِ. How many? ثلاث علامات. So khafd has 3 signs. There's al-kasratu wal-ya'u wal-fathatu. Easy. Al-kasratu wal-ya'u wal-fathatu. وَلِلْخَفْضِ ثلاث علامات. Khafd. What's khafd? What's the thing that's in the khafd case called? Makhfoodh. All right. What's the other word for this khafd? Jar and majroor. Yeah, jar is the operation. And the kind of word it is it's a majroor word. Kalima majroora. All right. Kalima makhfoodah. Kalima majroora. A word that is makhfoodh or a word that is majroor. Either one is the same case here. So now, we've already talked about khafd a little bit. What do we know about khafd already? Khafd is a sign of an ism. Min alamat al-ism. How do you know a noun? It's by a khafd. That means, فَأَمَّا الْأَفْعَالِ فَلَا خَفْضَ فِيهَا. As for the verbs, there is no such thing as a makhfoodh verb. So then, when we talk about the sign of something being makhfoodh, that gives us a little information here. What are we going to be talking about for the next 3, this lesson and the next 3 after that? We're going to be talking about nouns only, strictly. Why? Because we're talking about makhfoodh. And there is no such thing as a fi'l makhfoodh. Yeah, so that sort of gives us, building on what we've taken before, we're going to be talking about nouns now for this lesson and the next 3 lessons. Allahumma barik. Tayyib. So then we have 3. Now, this is the doormat page. Remember the doormat page? Where it sort of gives you, okay, here comes the next 3 lessons. They will be about the kasra, the ya, and the fatha. So we'll have a whole lesson on the kasra. We'll have another whole lesson on the ya, and then we'll have a whole lesson on the fatha. These 3 lessons as signs of words being makhfoodh, insha'Allah ta'ala. As for today, we just want to give the doormat lesson, the welcome message. This is the next 3 lessons coming up, insha'Allah ta'ala. So let's get an example of something with a kasra on it from what you might already know. Do you know a word that has a kasra on it anywhere in Juz Amma or the 40 Hadith or any easy text that's right there for you to grab? Min al-mulki. Min al-mulki, where's that? What about, go to the last surah in the Quran. Surah Al-Nas. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. All right, so we have قُلْ. It's a fi'l amr. It's a command. We're not going to worry about that. أَعُوذُ. We can make i'rab of أَعُوذُ, can't we? Let's do it. What's the i'rab of أَعُوذُ? فعل مضارع. مرفوع. علامة رفعه الضمة. Oh, look at that. We're off topic, but we're still moving. All right. بربي. What's this bat here? حرف خفض. according to the language of Ibn Ajrumiyyah, it's a harfu khafd. There's a ba. Bi Rabbi. Then the word Rabb is an ism. What do we say about this ism? What do you think? Bi Rabbi. Ism Makhfoodh. This ism here is Makhfoodh. Bi Rabbi. We can make i'rab of Rabb in this construction by saying Rabb is ismun makhfoodhun alamatu khafdihi al-kasra al-zahira. Nice. Easy. So then, if we were to categorize that word, Rabbi, Rabb, how could we categorize that noun? And what are the categories of nouns anyway? How could we say like nouns are of 3 types, or nouns are of 2 types, or nouns are of this many types? What are the different ways we can talk about nouns and divide them up into categories? But the number of things that are involved in the word, what's that called? The difference between rajul and rajulani and rijal. Mufrad. We can say some nouns are mufrad, some nouns are tathniya, muthanna, and some nouns are jama'. That's one way to say nouns are of different categories based on the number of that noun that's being referred to by that word. A single word can refer to one thing or 2 or 3 or more. All right. So then just to logically break down nouns, the kesra is not going to be the sign for the tathniya, and the kesra is not going to be the sign for the jama', except one of those jama'as. Which one do you think that's similar to the mufrad in how i'rab works on it? Jama' mudhakkar salim is kind of special. Jama' mu'annath salim is kind of special. What's the one that sort of operates like an ism mufrad? Jam'u taksir. An-nas, you could say, is a jam'u taksir. An-nas. Bi Rabbi an-nasi. So it's jam'u taksir. Yeah, an-nas. And you could say that it is makhfoodh. The alamatu khafdihi is the kasratu dhahira ala akhirihi. طيب. So there's a brief introduction to some words here. You have bi Rabbi. Bi Rabbi is makhfoodh because of harfu khafd, because of the ba. And then an-nasi, is makhfoodh for another reason. This is called makhfoodh bil idafa. We'll learn the details of why something is makhfoodh way later in the book, but for now, 2 basic ways of something being makhfoodh, or you could say 3. It's either makhfoodh because of a harf jar, or it's makhfoodh because of idafa, one noun after a next one being relative to the other, like Rasulullahi, Naqatullahi, like that. The second of the 2 nouns in that back-to-back noun construction is called mudaf ilayhi, and it's always majroor, or makhfoodh. That's what we have with bi Rabbin nasi, the Rabb of the nas. So then an-nas is majroor or makhfoodh bil idafa. And the third way of something being makhfoodh is taba'iyya, because of being like a sifa, an attribute, or a man'ut, something made ma'tuf, something being put after another thing that's already majroor. Marartu bil rajuli al-karimi al-masriyi al-kabiri al-samini. And it's all the same sifa for the same individual. So it's because of tabi'iyya, one word following another, it takes the same i'rab. So those are the 3 ways. We'll deal with that later in terms of the kinds of ways that something becomes either marfu' or mansub or makhfoodh or majzoom. All that's coming later, insha'Allah ta'ala. So we've got our kasra, a few examples. We'll get into the details of that tomorrow, insha'Allah ta'ala. The day after tomorrow, we'll get into the details of the ya being a sign of something being majroor. And just to give a quick preview of that, when is the ya the sign of something being makhfoodh? You can sort of skip ahead, lesson 22, pick one. It says في ثلاثة مواضع, right? أسماء خمسة في التثنية في الجمع. Let's grab one. أسماء خمسة. Yeah. What are the أسماء خمسة? أبوك وأخوك وحموك وفوك وذو مال. Nice. Did you hear one of the أسماء خمسة in today's lesson?
No.
You did? Where was it? Oh, nice. Okay. An Abi Hurairah. Every kunya that came up. Abi Hurairah, Abi Moosa, yeah, all of that, okay. Also, one that you don't hear too often at all. وَلَا يَمْلَأُ فَاهُ إِلَّا التُّرَابِ. Remember? Nothing will fill his fahu, not fuhu, not fihi, but fahu, because that's one of the asma' khamsa. His fem, his fu, his mouth. Yeah, nothing will fill his mouth other than dirt. Tayyib. So we need a ya. That's an alif. That would be mansub. That's not what we're looking for, though. We need one of those asma' khamsa that's majroor. And you mentioned one. Anytime you begin a hadith, you usually say an. And if there's a Abu Hurairah or Abu Moosa al-Ash'ari or anybody like that, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, what do you say? An Abi Sa'id, an Abi Hurairah, an Abi Moosa, and so on. So you're going to change Abu Hurairah to Abi because it's majroor because of a harfu jar, or it's makhfoodh because of a harfu khafd. And that's a nice, easy example because we see that a lot and we hear it all the time. So Ya Aba Hurairah in a hadith, Ya Aba Dhar, that came up today. Ya Aba Dhar, Hada Abu Dhar, Ra'aytu Aba Dhar, Marartu bi Abi Dhar. There's where the Ya becomes the sign of it being makhfoodh. Bi Abi Dharrin. Nice. Okay. The last one then is al-fatha. When do you think a fatha is a sign of being majroor? Oh, this is a special one. Requires a special lesson, total lesson. It's something we can't really handle right now. Oh, there you go. You got one. An Aishata. Now you would say there's a harf jar. There's an ism mufrad, Aisha. So it should be an Aishati. But we hear all the time an Aishata, an Samurata, an Ubaidata. Now we hear this ta coming at the end when we think it should be a kasra because an Zaydin, an Abi Bakrin, an Muhammadin, an Aliyin. But then you hear an Umara, not Umarin, but an Umara. Yeah, then you hear an Uthmana, and not Uthmanin. These are special nouns. They're called غَيْرُ مُنْصَرِف, nouns that do not completely follow the rules of i'rab. They don't take a kasra, essentially. When they're in the majroor case, they don't take a kasra. When they're alone, not mudaf. If they're mudaf to something, then they will take the kasra. And there are words like masajid, Sigat Muntaha al-Jumu'. We'll learn all about that, inshallah, as that lesson comes. That'll be the big focus of that lesson. Learning when, or examples of when a word which you would think would have a kasra on it for being majroor is actually going to have a fatha instead. And that fatha will be its real sign of i'rab, of being makhfoodh. And so your example is really good. An Aisha ta. So Aisha is mamnu' min as-sarf. Aisha does not accept the kasra. Yeah, when it's a standalone word, Aisha ta, and not Aisha ti. And it also doesn't accept tanween, not just the kasra, but it doesn't accept the tanween. You don't say هذه عائشة, but rather you say هذه عائشة, and you leave a single dhamma on it, not a double dhamma and not tanween. That's part of what it means to say that it's mamnu' min as-sarf. No tanween and no kasra when it's makhfoodh, except if it's mudaf to something else. And the details of that lesson, that will be 3 days, or the third lesson from now, after the next 2 lessons, insha'Allah ta'ala. So now you have it in front of you, lesson 2. وَلِلْخَفْضِ ثَلَاثُ عَلَامَاتٍ. Khafd has 3 signs. Al-kasratu. Al-kasra is relatively very easy, like how a lot of the stuff we're doing is pretty easy here. Wal-ya'u, pretty easy, based on what we've already done. That fatha is going to be our biggest challenge probably in the first 26 lessons. We'll be learning about the fatha as a sign of makhfoodh for al-asma' ghayr al-munsarifa, the nouns that don't accept the tanween or the kasra in the khafd case. Very special case. Don't worry that you don't really get it right now. You shouldn't get it now, but we'll study it in a focused way in an entire lesson, insha'Allah ta'ala. Any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, recommendations, anything? طيب. هذا والله أعلم. This is what we have been blessed by Allah Ta'ala to cover today, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. وَصَلِّ اللَّهُمَّ وَسَلِّمْ وَبَارِكْ عَلَى نَبِيِّنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَعَلَى آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ أَجْمَعِينَ.